Hello, Duke fans. Welcome to the Duke Blue Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Hugh Strain, your host and writer for Duke Blue Devils on SI. Duke basketball set to look to get out to a 7-0 start in league play on Saturday against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now, the game was originally set to tip off at 5:45 p.m. That tip has been moved up all the way to 12 p.m. Eastern time due to the impending snowstorm that is projected to attack really all of the East Coast. It seems like Duke University has canceled in-person attendance for classes before 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on that Monday. Again, the snowstorm projected to hit on Sunday into Monday, and depending on where you are, supposed to get pretty bad with double-digit inches of snow, most likely. But let's get into Duke State with Wake Forest. Wake Forest, one of the weaker teams in the conference, 11-8 overall, 2-4 in league play, a team that just feels on the edge of making the tournament every single year. It feels like a team they can do it with Steve Forbes, and it just hasn't happened yet, and it doesn't look like this is going to be the team to do it. Wake has dropped 5 of its last 7 games, and its computer numbers just aren't very good. It's ranked 70th at KenPom, 70th at KenPom, 100th in adjusted offensive efficiency, 50th in adjusted defensive efficiency. And it's a team with really no intriguing victories or really anything of the sort to include in an NCAA tournament resume at all. Wake is currently 67th in the net, 0-6 in quad 1, or 3-7 in the first 2 quadrants. And the Demon Deacons do own a quadrant 3 loss, which was an 86-68 home defeat against Oklahoma. So again, Wake, not a team that is going to really be expected to give Duke a lot of issues. Duke, with this sort of revamped ACC in 2025-26, will have several quad 1 opportunities in conference play as the season progresses, which is a luxury they didn't have last year. This will not be one of those games. This will be a quad 2 win for Duke. If it wins, and a game that Duke absolutely has to have, if it wants to keep its very promising case for a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament alive. Quad 2 loss would be disastrous, obviously, in terms of hurting that. But again, Wake, not a team that the computers like at all, a team with really no resume building victories or really anything of sort on the resume. And it's a game that Duke should be expecting to win by anywhere from 10 to 20 points. Again, the Blue Devils have won 6 in a row. They are now the lone undefeated ACC team. Clemson fell just a few days ago to leave Duke as the only undefeated team in the conference. So Duke will be looking to get out to a 7-0 start against a very weak Wake Forest team before it takes on Louisville at home on January 26th. Again, Duke has already faced Louisville at the KFC Yum Center on January 6th, won 84-73 after entering the halftime locker room in a double-digit deficit. So, again, Wake Forest, it's a team it's not a team that's going to score at a premium. Again, top or 100th in adjusted offensive efficiency. But one player to watch will be sophomore 6'7" guard Juke Harris. Again, with all the mess that this Wake Forest team is, a team that, no one's really paying attention to, this sophomore Juke Harris has kind of come out of nowhere as to really one of the most prolific scorers the ACC has to offer altogether. He's 3rd in the conference scoring at 20.5 points per game, shooting 46% from the field, 36% from 3. He scored 27 or more in 3 of his last 4 games. And after his 20.5 points per game average, the Demon Deacons' next leading scorer is down at 12 points per game. So sophomore guard Juke Harris will be a name to watch and a guy to pay attention to. Again, not saying this is going to be the difference between a win or a loss for the Blue Devils. Should be a fairly easily handled victory. But I think we can assume Dame Sarr will be the primary defender on Juke Harris, given he's sort of developing into Duke's go-to guy to shut down a team's leading scorer. He did it against Ebuka Okori, who was the ACC's leading scorer heading into the game at around 23 points per game, limited him to just 9 points in a dominant 80-50 win for the Blue Devils. Dame Sarr was also fantastic on Louisville guard Ryan Conwell in the aforementioned contest at the KFC Yum Center. after Conwell really got hot in the first half. 15 points. Dame Sarr was on him really with no switchability at all in the second half and limited him to 8 points and really took him out of the game almost entirely. Duke ended up going on to win that game to improve its record. Duke looking to get to 7-0 in conference play, and outside of Duke Harris, not really much to watch from this Wake Forest team. Its best win of the season is against Virginia Tech at home. Doesn't have a single win over a top 50 team in the net, and looks like a waste of a year from Steve Forbes. Again, it's just been kind of consistent. You don't want to say mediocrity, but Steve Forbes has yet to get to the NCAA tournament with the Demon Deacons. Unsure what that's going to bring for the future, his job security, where that's at currently, with another season that is certainly looking like a non-NCAA tournament year. And Wake is a frustrating team to watch because, they've had talented teams and it feels like they're so close each year. This year is not one of those years, but really over the last 3 seasons, it's felt like Wake was right there and it just wasn't able to get it done down the stretch. Now, Wake's, again, its record, its computer numbers really indicate the worst, but it has been in position to win some pretty significant games. It lost to Michigan by 1. It lost to Texas Tech by 1. Those are 2 ranked teams. Duke lost to the Red Raiders back at Madison Square Garden on December 20th. But as of late, really, no promising box scores at all. It did fall by only 3 on the road to North Carolina. But at the end of the day, the losses are the losses. It's lost to Vanderbilt by near 30 points. It's lost to NC State, Miami, and SMU. There aren't too many brutal losses. It beat Memphis on a buzzer beater on a neutral floor earlier this year. That would have looked very, very poor considering where Memphis is at right now in the season. Oklahoma at home is its worst loss statistically on the season. But outside of that, it's been power conference losses. It's just been a lot of losses again. An 11-8 record for the Demon Deacons. And they're heading into Durham really looking for a miracle and anything to turn the season around. At this point, it's kind of got to happen now. So where's Duke right now? Duke has looked fantastic over its last few games. The 2-game West Coast road trip against California and Stanford was probably the best 2-game stretch for the Blue Devils all season long. Defensively, looked so much better after a really, really rough stretch on the defensive side of the ball to begin league play. Cameron Boozer was once again fantastic. He swept the ACC Rookie of the Week and Player of the Week honors after his 2 double performances against Stanford and Cal. That included a 30-point and 14-rebound outing against the Cardinal in the 80-50 victory. Duke took down Cal on January 14th, 71-56. Again, Boozer was elite. And then Isaiah Evans is also continuing his, you don't want to say breakout campaign because he was expected to be a breakout, but extremely inconsistent to start the year. And he's been absolutely fantastic since league play has begun. Over 20 points in 3 of Duke's 6 ACC games. Expect him to have another dominant outing coming back home. Again, once we get out of this game for the Blue Devils, what does the schedule look like from there? So after this, they will take on Louisville, who's currently ranked number 23 in the Associated Press Bowl, on January 26th at Cameron Indoor at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It will then hit the road to take on Virginia Tech on January 31st before heading back home to take on Boston College on February 3rd. Boston College, the weakest team in the conference. Then on February 7th, the rivalry kicks off, first edition of Duke and North Carolina in Chapel Hill. North Carolina been in a bit of a rut, has looked absolutely terrible defensively. A lot of question marks surrounding that team, but Caleb Wilson has been one of the best freshmen in the entire country, and him versus Cameron Boozer will be potentially the best freshman matchup this sport has to offer this season. Some mocks even have Caleb Wilson going ahead of Boozer in the 2026 NBA draft. Almost every single one has some variation of AJ Debonsa and Darren Peterson going 1-2. And then it felt like Cameron Boozer was the consensus 3rd pick. That isn't necessarily sticking. Caleb Wilson has been absolutely unbelievable, has incredible footwork, incredible athlete. Duke set to look to get out to a 7-0 start in league play against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Again, tip-off changed originally scheduled for 5:45 p.m. Eastern time on the CW network. That has been moved up to 12 p.m. Eastern time, given the impending snowstorm. As always, thank you so much for listening and taking the time out of your day to stay up to date with all things Duke athletics. My name is Hugh Strain, your host and writer for Duke Blue Devils on SI. Make sure to check us out at si.com/college/Duke. Everyone have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.